Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. If you're enjoying our videos, please subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you. And when you do subscribe, be sure that you hit the little notification bell. You click on that, and that way you'll be notified every time we put up a new video. Okay, that's all taken care of. Gee, I haven't gotten a lot done lately. I've been like most people. It's been raining and raining and raining, and it's been pretty depressing. I've lost about 4 people I really care about. My heart goes out to everyone who's lost someone, and I'm sure when the smoke all clears, we're all going to find that there are people we care about that aren't there anymore. Nothing we can do about it. However, things seem to be clearing up now, and hopefully things will get back to normal soon. I think the government is really trying their best to do what we need. I don't have anyone to complain to. And for all the people that are watching our videos, thank you. Anyway, again, trying to make the most of today. I still need to get over and to my buddy's shop and order parts for the project bike, and we'll talk about the project bike when I finish with what I'm doing today. Last time I took this Knucklehead out, I wrung it out pretty good. I had a good time, and I like to. It really runs good, and this bike is real fun to go out and just do all of this stuff with, and I was doing that a lot. And what happened was I splattered a lot of oil on the engine by doing that. You wring it out good, it tends to build up a little pressure in it, and I thought, well, I probably should back off on the oil pressure a little bit. Now these things, the oiling system of a Knucklehead is a lot different than the oiling system on anything else. It pumps the oil to the top, then it sucks the oil down, it creates its own vacuum and drains the oil from the rocker boxes down into the push rod tubes. And it needs to work real well, because the problem with it is that if it doesn't drain fast enough, it doesn't get sucked back down fast enough, then the oil builds up and puddles in the rocker boxes. And these things, due to their old style design, they just aren't sealed very well. You end up with a whole lot of oil up there, and it ends up kind of decorating your engine, which is fine. It's a Knucklehead. It's entitled to weep a little oil here and there. When it gets to be a little bit much, I thought what I would do this time is crank the pressure down. Now, I've got a restrictor in this top oil line that I made, but the main thing is you really don't need a lot of oil pressure in these old Harleys. All you're really looking for is circulation. So what I did was I measured this. Actually, the starting point is 3/4 of an inch. That's from this edge to inside, and I've got it backed off some. It's not that much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it off a little more. Maybe, heck, I think I'm going to do it a whole full turn. Then I can remember that I backed it off a full turn from where it was. Now, one of the things you want to do when you change the oil pressure in a Harley is you want to start it up and take the oil cap off and make sure that you see oil returning to the tank. Because all these motors are really dependent on is circulation, not pressure. Circulation. It's not like a car engine or even some motorcycle engines that use what they call plain bearings or insert bearings on their rods and on their crank. What they have is these flat shell bearings, and the more pressure you have, then the more the crank or the rod is actually running on oil rather than on the bearing surface. In theory, the bearings in an automotive engine should last forever, in theory. But they do last a long time. These motors are all roller bearing, and all they need is for those roller bearings to be wet, and for oil to get to the rocker arms, all they need is to be wet. They don't need bunches of pressure. You just have to have circulation. That circulation is real important, that those things not only get wet, but that the oil carries the heat off. As the oil goes back to the oil tank, it cools down in the oil tank. Oil gets cooled by moving through and going back to the oil tank. That's why I'm such a big believer in oil coolers on shovel heads, because they run so warm that you want to cool that oil. Okay, that being said, that's about all I'm going to do on the knuckle today. I did show the place where you pull the cap and you turn that part. There's an excellent picture of it in this wonderful Harley Davidson Knucklehead service manual. Actually, it's knuckleheads and flatheads. It's all the big twins from 40 to 47. So that's knuckleheads and the flathead 74 and 80-inch motors. I love this service manual. An old friend mechanic gave it to me years ago, a guy named Pierre. Anyway, this is why I always say refer to your service manual. Here is a whole diagram of the circulation system. So that completes what I wanted to do with the knucklehead for today, other than clean all the oil off of it from the last time I took it out and wrung it out so hard. Oh, it was fun. It was really fun. We won't talk about any speeds, but I did promise that at the end of each video I was going to bring out parts to the project bike. And I know everybody's dying to see the motor, and I'm really dying to show it. This weekend I've got a buddy coming over to get a whole bunch of his stuff out of my shop, and then I'll have room and I will bring out the motor. Probably. Anyway, so what I did want to show is a couple of parts for the project bike. I think everybody knows at this point how much I love brass. And I've never done a bike with a bunch of brass on it, and I'm doing it now. This is the headlight, which is kind of neat because it's a unity headlight. And that's enough. We don't need to show all that. But there is a data plate on it. What I really think this light was off of, one of my old buddies gave it to me years ago, knowing I would appreciate something like that, like this. This is a unity light. The light that's on my knuckle is a unity light. I'm really fond of them. They're nice old American headlights, and they have a really nice shape to them, and they're 5 3/4 inch beam and all that sort of thing. I believe this one came off of an aircraft carrier. It says it is a deck light number yada yada yada, and it's 24 volt. So we will take this beam out of here, which is probably not a 24 volt anyway, and we will put some kind of a bright headlight of some sort, and this will mount to the VL Springer front end that is going on the project bike. As long as we're putting a brass headlight on it, I have something my father left me. It was on his 40 Ford. I always wanted it. My mother told him to give it to him, and he wouldn't do it. I ended up with the 40 Ford and the horn. This horn, I'm not sure what year bike it's off of. I can't even be sure what brand, whether it's off an Indian or a Harley. But it's off of one of those two in the teens. It's a real klaxon horn. The cap here is brass, and it is an Auga horn, a genuine Auga horn. And when I make the bracket up for that Springer front end, the horn will either be below the headlight or above the headlight, and I'll have to find some kind of a very small voltage drop for it, because I'm going to run a 12 volt system on the project bike. But more brass. Now we have a brass headlight. This is actually I think it's a spotlight off of an aircraft carrier. I could be wrong. Someone out there might know. Here's the knob for aiming it. And this is the mount, which obviously pivots this way. And I assume it was on another piece that must have pivoted this way. But here's the knob for aiming it. And I think that knob is cool. It looks like it's made of cast aluminum, and as long as I'm going to polish the headlight, I think I'll polish the knob. I just major... shouldn't have said that. Anyway, this is major cool stuff. Anyway, that's it. Those are the parts for the project bike. We adjusted the oil pressure on the knuckle. And I've got to get more parts ordered for the project bike. I really want to do that. I want to lace that wheel on a video. I want to get some stuff done on it, but I'm sorry. It's been really difficult getting these things done when I'm not supposed to go out. Yeah, I'm an at-risk individual. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. And we'll get some more things going real soon. And until then, I'm going to go for a ride. See you out on the road.